Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Say what? Say what? Say what? One more time.
We kick things off with our signature segment, Say What, where we roll out a virtual assembly line of wacky, astonishing, damnable, and ultimately revealing things uttered by politicians and the chattering class. As official Washington and the media proclaim Joe Biden as president-elect, the former vice president inches closer to actually, fully, and finally being declared the winner of the presidential election, as President Trump's lawyers continue their pursuit of the Holy Grail, the smoking gun, the game changer on multiple fronts, with lawsuits coming and going in a bunch of battleground states and more behind them. This, as the day of reckoning, the Electoral College meeting of December 14th, grows ever closer. We'll start with some of the most notable claims of Trump's lawyers. First, Rudy Giuliani on a sworn affidavit from an election worker in Detroit.
She was assigned to voting duties in September, and she was trained by the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. She was basically trained to cheat. She said that I was instructed by my supervisor to adjust the mailing date of these absentee ballot packages to be dated earlier than when they were actually sent in. The supervisor made that announcement for all workers to engage in that fraudulent practice.
So Giuliani is on one track, more what you might call the retail track, accumulating affidavits on instances of fraud, while Sidney Powell, not officially a member of the Trump legal team, pursues a different wholesale path based on serious questions about Dominion voting systems.
One of its most characteristic features is its ability to flip votes. It can set and run an algorithm that probably ran all over the country to take a certain percentage of votes from President Trump and flip them to Biden, which we might never have uncovered had the votes for President Trump not been so overwhelming in so many of these states that it broke the algorithm that had been plugged into the system. And that's what caused them to have to shut down.
As we've said here before, it's one thing to win in the court of public opinion, quite another to prove allegations like that with hard evidence in a court of law. But the left's view of the charges made by the Trump campaign is obviously quite different. The head of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Sherilyn Ifill, says it's all typical Trump racism.
What the president has done and has done systematically and deliberately is to advance a norm in which the votes that are cast in majority black cities or predominantly black cities are seen and tainted in some way as being fraudulent or there being something wrong with them. We saw this outside when the canvassers were counting the votes, the day after election in Detroit. And we saw, all of these people standing outside saying, stop the count. And the president had people going back and forth about stop the count, count all the votes. But the places he was targeting, the racist dog whistle was Philadelphia, Atlanta, Detroit, Milwaukee.
Which are the biggest cities in each of the battleground states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Trump has been as quiet as we've ever seen him since the election as his legal team fights on, but he made an extraordinarily brief appearance at the White House this week to tout the stock market and COVID vaccines.
The stock market, Dow Jones Industrial Average, just hit 30,000, which is the highest in history. We've never broken 30,000, and that's just despite everything that's taken place with the pandemic. I'm very thrilled with what's happened on the vaccine front. That's been absolutely incredible. It's nothing like that has ever happened medically, and I think people are acknowledging that, and it's having a big effect. But the stock market's just broken 30,000. Never been broken, that number. That's a sacred number, 30,000. It's the 48th time that we've broken records during the Trump administration.
Those pointed comments about the stock market have led some to believe he was setting the stage for another run in 2024. Would he do it? His daughter-in-law and campaign bigwig Laura Trump says, sure.
If for some reason the president does not, win all these legal battles, then I think he said that he would be interested in looking to 2024. And I think that there are about 74 million Americans that would support him in a run for office. You've seen the way that he has really been masterful with, if nothing else, the economy. The Dow hitting 30,000. When Donald Trump came into office, or when he was elected, it was around 17. And you see that the 30,000 is in the midst of a pandemic. Right. We know what he's able to do with the economy. We know what he's done on so many other fronts. And I think there are a lot of people that want to see 4 more years of this president.
So as Trump hangs on and contemplates his next moves, Joe Biden plows ahead with naming a prospective cabinet, going full-on diversity as promised and transmitting the unmistakable message that the days of America First will soon end, to be replaced by the familiar globalism which defined U.S. foreign policy up to the Trump era. One of the most prime examples came from Biden's choice for UN ambassador, Linda Thomas Greenfield.
My fellow career diplomats and public servants around the world, I want to say to you, America is back. Multilateralism is back. Diplomacy is back. The challenges we face, a global pandemic, the global economy, the global climate change crisis, mass migration and extreme poverty, social justice, are unrelenting and interconnected.
Yes, sir, folks, globalism is back, and better or worse than ever. And if you had any remaining shreds of doubt about the agenda of the elite media in Election 20, yes, agenda, not journalism, listen to PBS White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor, longtime antagonist of President Trump, go on MSNBC and describe the reported victory of Joe Biden.
This also felt like the Avengers. It felt like we're being rescued from this craziness that we've all lived through from the last 4 years. And now here are the superheroes to come and save us all.
Coming to save us all from the plague of Donald Trump. Joe Biden, superhero in the eyes of the adoring elite media.
Stay ahead of the curve with LibertyNation.com. With one click, Liberty Nation delivers tomorrow's news.
And remember, liberty.
Today.
All the time and everywhere.
With LNTV's Hot Topics and Analysis.
You're looking at people just rising up.
Liberty Nation Radio, The Uprising and Rabbit Hole podcasts. And dozens of insightful original articles. And now, you can keep your kids ahead of the curve with LNGenZ.com. LN Gen Z brings a free-thinking education right into your home for students of every grade level with articles, videos, worksheets, and ready-to-go curricula. While the media establishment giants are sleeping, you can stay ahead of the curve with LibertyNation.com and get tomorrow's news today. Liberty Nation and LNGenZ.com.